Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Keegan and welcome back to the third and final episode of my Rough Drafts mini-series on this channel. So before we get underway, as you can tell, you're not seeing my face to start this episode. It is because I've had a bit of an issue with the syncing of the video and my voice. I still haven't figured it out yet, so we're just going to go with straight onto the page today. So you won't see any face cam, it's just going to be purely hearing my voice. As you can see here, and I'm also going to be mixing two episodes up. I was going to do an episode for rucks and an episode for forwards, but I decided that because rucks is such a small part, such a small selection of players, I decided to just mix forwards and rucks together so I can go through rucks, go through forwards, and I can get through the episode and get through these three rough drafts episodes, and then I can finally show you the team that I'm going to be going into the JLT series with. So, having a look at the rucks here, you can see that we've got two pretty popular rucks now, and this is rough draft, so it's about picking players that maybe not a lot of people will look at. But honestly, I haven't heard a lot of people talking about Nick Naitanui. Now he's back from a serious knee injury, so that could hamper him. But you might want to keep an eye on how he gets through if he plays any preseason games at all, and if he gets picked in round one. But at 465, he's almost impossible to pass up. You can't pass up Nick Naitanui at all. Gorn is another one that's come off a pretty serious injury. At only 503, he's about 100,000 cheaper than, I think, Cruiser is the most expensive ruck. So Gorn is a pretty solid pick. To be fair, Naitanui and Gorn could be my starting two ruckmen, as both are pretty good quality, and both are below where their usual scoring is at. So they're probably two very obvious picks. Now, English is my rough pick from my ruckman. He is one that is a bit different. It's his second preseason he's going through now. He's going to Western Bulldogs' second season, and I reckon they're going to use him a bit more. If he's bulked up a bit from last season, I think he saw a couple of games. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, do correct me. But I think he saw a couple of games last season. This year, he'll get another shot at it. He might not be someone that you start the season with. He might not start the season for the Bulldogs, but at some point, I reckon he'll get a run of games, and he might be someone you want to bring in at that point. Again, he's not someone that I would start the season with, but bringing him in as a downgrade target, he's possibly someone that you might want to look at. All right, on to the forwards. We've got 8 forwards here that I've picked. Starting with Billings. Now, he had some really big games last year. I think there was a game he kicked 6 goals in or something. So he was a really good player in parts. The goal for him this year will be to develop consistency. And if he can develop consistency, he will be a very decent forward pick. Now, there are others that I've got in my team, like Robbie Gray, who I've talked about in a previous preseason video. But I reckon Billings might be someone that, if you're looking for a bit of a point of difference that not a lot of people are going to look at, I reckon Billings might be that person. Another one, as we slide down the scale of pay, we've got Barlow. Gold Coast player, so I probably see a bit more of him than a lot of other people do. If he plays in the midfield this year, and that's a big if he plays in the midfield this year, he will get a lot of minutes. His broken leg has seemed to almost all recovered. I think he's going back to running now. He hasn't done any contact training, but he's running now at preseason, so that's a good sign. If he gets to playing a game in the JLT series, a practice game, getting a bit of run in the legs, he could be someone that definitely might want to look at as a point of difference. He's going to get midfield minutes in a forward line position. If he was just a midfielder, there's no way in the world you'd pick Barlow. But playing as a forward in this game, but who will be playing in the midfield for Gold Coast, he's someone that you might want to look at. He'll probably do a bit of tagging. He'll probably lay a lot of tackles, a lot of contested disposals, and he also seems to bob up forward and kick a few goals as well. So he might be someone that you might want to look at if you're looking for a good point of difference in the forward line. DeGoey's another one that he's promised a bit here and a bit there, but this year I reckon if he can step up for Collingwood, he will be a really, really good player. It's no secret to say that Collingwood midfield is absolutely dynamite when they're up and running. And DeGoey, if he can break into that top tier Collingwood midfield, he will be getting a lot of really, really good disposal, and he could be someone that you want to look at in a forward line position. He's only 434,000, making him pretty cheap for the forward line. You can use that money to buff up your midfield if that's something you want to do. He could be someone that you want to definitely think about picking. Rory Lobb's an interesting one. Now, I've spoken to him about him in a previous video, but I just want to back up what I said about Rory Lobb. he's going to be playing ruck for GWS this year and probably playing predominantly ruck. So he's going to be getting those ruck minutes in the forward line. He no Mumford. Mumford's retired, so that means there is a spot there for Lobb to be the stand-up ruckman for the GWS Giants. And I reckon he could be that person. Hit outs, runs around. He will take a lot of contested mark, which scored pretty well in Supercoach. He's also going to bob up for a few goals when he drifts forward as well. So he's someone that I would definitely be thinking about putting into my team, and he'd probably end up making the cut for my final team before the JLT series. Jesse Hogan is a player that people have expected for the past couple of years since he's come into the AFL to be that massive target for Melbourne. And I reckon this year, 383,000, he might be someone that you might want to look at. Now, usually key forwards are really risky proposition in Supercoach, because if they have a sort of an off game, they really have an off game. It's not like a midfielder that might only get 20 touches and he might only score 80. If a key forward doesn't have a good game, he's getting 50 maybe. So he's someone that I would think about. I would definitely think of having a look at, seeing how he's getting on. Again, he could be someone you want to look at halfway through the season, depending on what he does for Melbourne. But if he plays well in the JLT series and you see Melbourne going through him a fair bit, he might be someone you want to consider at 383,000. He's a decent price mid-pricer, sorry. Now we're into our sort of our rookie-ish prices. Setterfield's are still expensive for a rookie at 195,000, but I reckon kid full of talent. He'll probably be playing a lot of games for GWS. He might be a downgrade target. He's probably a little bit expensive for a downgrade target, but he could be someone that you might want to look at. If GWS start him in round one, he'll probably get a few games to kick it off, and he'll probably make a fair bit of money. But again, he could be this season's Taranto. Like Taranto last year for GWS was a pretty good money maker. I think Setterfield will be this year's Taranto for GWS, and he could be getting a few touches in that GWS team. Hearn's an interesting one. He's a former GWS player. He's come off a very, very serious knee injury. GWS traded him to North Melbourne for pretty much next to nothing. And Hearn's had a year out with a knee injury. This year could be his year. He's back. He probably won't start the season, I don't think, unless North Melbourne think that he's been that good that they're going to start him. But he could be someone that could be that downgrade target if he gets to the middle of the season, hasn't played a game. He'll get a run of games at some point during the season because North Melbourne don't have a lot of A-grade players in their team at the moment, especially through their midfield other than Zeeble and Cunnington. So he is someone that will probably get some midfield minutes rotating through that North Melbourne midfield. And because he's playing for North Melbourne, I can see him getting a few more games than he maybe would in another team. So he's someone you definitely want to keep an eye on. And last one is Garlett. Now, he is a former Suns player, and it'll be interesting. He left the Suns a couple of years ago. He went back to WA for family reasons, and now he's been drafted back into the AFL, and he's been picked up by Carlton. Will he get a game? At his best, Garlett was a very, very good forward of centre player. He was pretty deadly around goals. He had a really, really good kick on him, and he could definitely sniff out a goal. Now, will he start for Carlton this year will remain to be seen. He's had a year out of the AFL, so he might need a few games in the Northern Blues to get that fitness up again. But I reckon if he's fit and if he starts, he's someone that you definitely want to get in because he will be a scoring rookie pretty much from round one. And there you have it. Rucks, forwards, some players that I've looked at that maybe not everyone else is looking at, but some people you might want to have it think about. Out of all these ones, the ones that I probably would consider is definitely Nat Nui. It's definitely up in my mind as someone I'm probably going to be definitely playing in my ruck position. And Rory Lobb is the other one that will definitely be looking at to play in forward position. So they're the two players out of all the ones I've selected today, the two that I'm probably really confident about that will score pretty well. There's a couple of roughies in there. Jesse Hogan could do anything really, and Barlow could go either way. But they're my picks. Do let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree. Are there any other rough draft picks of players, point of differences, players that other people are probably not thinking about that they maybe should have a think about putting into their team? Do let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching this episode, guys. Next episode is going to be all about showing my team heading into the AFL X and JLT series that I'm really excited to show you about. and then I'll talk through my selections of that team. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you later.